and make those embers glow. I'm on my way, yeah, and I don't skip a beat. I can't help it, I've got happy feet. So good, I do what I want and it's understood. There's no stopping me when I'm doing my thing. I'm doing my thing. I'ma do me. You know what I mean. I'm on fire. I'm feeling glad there's a spark in my soul. It up, burning brighter than gold. Yeah, 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 yeah. Whoa. Break it down now. I'm getting happy, feel my heart go zing. I'm clapping my hands and I'm pulling these strings. No stopping me when I'm doing my thing. I'm doing my thing. I'ma do me. I'ma do me. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. Yes, I am. I'ma do me. I'ma do me. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. I'm on fire. Yes, I am. I'm on fire, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm on fire, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm on fire. I'ma do me. I got happy feet. You know what I mean. I got happy feet. I'm on fire. I feel good. I feel good right now. I'm on fire, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. I'm on fire, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm on fire. I'ma do me.
Can't nobody hold me down. I'm steady walking like I got 3 commas in my bank account. Living loud, so get your cameras out. I'll probably do the same thing if I was you. Looking at me now, now. Put up your lights and keep them flashing. Don't ever put them down, down, down. Look at me now. Look at me now. Look at me now. Good God, I'm looking sweet. Right now I'm feeling like a slice of heaven, and you wanna sink your teeth in me. And the way that I move my feet, it's like I got this whole world spinning round to the rhythm of my heartbeat. Put up your lights and keep them flashing. Don't ever put them down, down, down. Look at me now. Look at me now. Look at me now. Look at me now. I feel so good. I feel so money. I feel so good. I feel so money. Look at me now. Look at me now. Look at me now. Look at me now. I feel so good. I feel so money. Look at me now. So good. I feel so money. Look
I can't seem to focus, and you don't seem to notice I'm not here. I'm just a mirror. You check your complexion to find your reflections all alone. I had to go. Can't you hear me? I'm not coming home. Do you understand? I've changed my plans, 'cause I'm in love with my future. Can't wait to meet her. And I'm in love, but not with anybody else. Just wanna get to know myself. I know supposedly I'm lonely now. No, I'm supposed to be unhappy without someone, but aren't I someone? You're so handsome, but I know better than to drive you home. 'Cause you'd invite me in, and I'd be yours again. But I'm in love with my future, and you don't know her. And I'm in love, but not with anybody here. I'll see you in a couple years.
It's been a little while since I've looked in your eyes and walked that bridge to the other side. Mama says it's gonna get cold in the night, but if I picture you, then I'll be alright. I am ready. I am ready for you to be here. It's been a little while since I held your hands, so my arms won't stretch to your distant lands. Give me every person in the whole wide world, and I'll pick you out in a second, girl. I am ready. I am ready for you to be here. For you.
Mic test, mic test. I think I'm okay now. Paul? Dr. Paul Lee, can you hear me? If you can hear me, shout out. No sound? Shit, okay. All right, let's give it, maybe it's lagging a little bit. Scott says no sound. Can't hear my voice. You can? Peter, can? Oh, now you can. Okay, got it. Got it. I was messing with the mic system a couple days ago, so I think that's what messed up. Okay. All right. Awesome. Okay. Okay, thank you, Tim. Patrick, awesome, you guys. All right. Perfect. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you. We have a lot of you joining again. Lisa, good to see you, Lisa. Okay. Who else? Hey, Izzy, how you doing, my friend? Okay, it's been really nice for you guys to shout out and let me know which city you're from, right? Okay, it always helps for me to know that I'm reaching out to a lot of different places of the global world, right? People ask me, why I do what I do, because I love it. I love it. Dentistry is one of those professions that I believe that, and I know that the passion for our profession brings everybody together, right? So I'm just as happy to share what I can with all of you. So thank you very much for joining. Appreciate it. And I've been getting a lot of private message for many of you thanking me, on the Facebook private message, and personally thanking me for what I do. Those of you who appreciate the effort and the commitment and the time that goes into showing that appreciation means a lot to me. Well, today is an episode, what is it? Episode 18 already, right? 18. And we have a fun one. We have a fun one tonight. Whenever I come across how I choose my cases, it's a lot of it, believe it or not, is random. When I'm finishing off one of these cases, and then I look at the x-rays and I realize that this patient I've been working on for many number of years, and that also gives me a cue to go back and dig out all the photos I've taken, because I usually take photos for all my cases, and no other better retrospective study, in my opinion, for my own sake. And I learn a lot, and some of it, I'm very happy to share with you. Today's case is interesting because, let me just go into picture-in-picture. Let me go down here today, okay? All right, okay. The case that I'll be sharing with you is because as much as I'm proud of the work that I've achieved over these years, which spans from 2008 all the way to 2013. I've also realized that how much I've changed over these years, and also I've learned. So if I were to put things into perspective, this case this gentleman, and I started on his wife. I was doing conventional all-on-4 in 2006, and in 2008, he came to my office, and this was before my implant center, and he wanted implant done in the quad 2. And as you can see here, 2008, he started to come regular basis, and each quadrant, and all the way to 2017, 2021, he ended up becoming a full arch therapy. I look back at this case, I'm thinking, first of all, how did the case turn out, right? Because always the result is what's going to determine the success of what I do. And secondly is, if I were to do it again, would I go through this route, in a retrospective study, right? Of course, hindsight, we're all 2020, looking at the crystal ball. But this case, I know that some of the things that I would do differently, definitely, if I were to do it over again. So, let's share that with you. Okay. All right. Hey, how you doing, Peter? Good to see you. Okay, excellent, excellent. All right. Okay, so let's go at it. Okay. So in July 2008, he came to me like this, right? And his quad 2 bridge apparently got extracted by his dentist, and his dentist also already placed a quad 4 implant, Straumann implant. Okay, Straumann tissue level implant. These are great implants. Okay, and he came to me like this here, and his chief concern was, well, because he's missing teeth on the bottom right side and he's missing teeth on the top left side, can't eat, right? Give me some teeth, right? So, all right. So I'm looking at this here. Okay, okay. He's had a lot of dentistry done, obviously, and he has a heavy restorations existing, and in retrospect, I would look at it because probably inevitable that he might end up with full arch therapy in the future. But the question is, when a patient's not complaining about it, and when you look at it clinically, it seems pretty solid, and the referring dentist also has not really mentioned any major wrong with it, you kind of don't offer a full arch therapy from a get-go, right? Now, if I were to do this case over again, would I offer a full arch therapy from a get-go? I'm not so sure. A lot of times patients are not ready emotionally, right? What we want to do is one thing. What we offer and we give an option is definitely, we'll do that. I'll mention the patients that it might become a situation that you may end up needing implant down the road, more implants. However, it is rare that patient is willing to accept a full arch, double arch treatment from a get-go. Okay, so what did I do here? Okay, I was looking at pulling all the photos from 2008. We changed the computer server over the year 2012, so I had to go to the old server and look at the external hard drive and all that. So I dug it out, okay, this afternoon. So this was the mounted model. Okay, obviously at that time everything was analog, right? I mean, we do in our in-house lab a lot of digital, but there's certain aspects that in our house house lab that we still do analog for some specific reasons. So you don't have to go full digital. I've done all these cases, a lot of these cases early on, all non-digital, all analog, and the result is still quite acceptable, right? But we mounted it. Okay, we mounted this model here and trying to look at it, and what we come to realize is that we had to open up the bite a little bit because he was getting collapsed. The vertical was lost ever since he lost the quad 2. So one of the key difficulty for this case was not really the surgery. Surgery, I almost always have control over the surgical procedure, right? I know exactly what I need to do. But where the difficulty is, whenever a patient loses the vertical dimension of occlusion and try to regain back, that's kind of hard because you don't know, you're guessing, right? So that's the situation. And here, 2008 September, start to place some implants, right? Okay, place the 2.4, 2.5, 2.6. Okay, those of you who's placed these type of implants probably recognize it. These are Nobel Biocare tri-lobe implants. Hardly anybody that I know nowadays place these implants, but believe it or not, at one point in time, especially during the 2000, okay, early 2000 to late 2000, these were probably the most sold and most placed implant in the world. Back then, the concept of zero bone loss was not there. The concept of micro gap by Dr. Dennis Tarnow was not fully established, and there was a lot of the super study was not widely accepted. Okay, I don't know if it was even done at that time. So Trilove was the easiest to place and easiest to restore. My referring dentist loves these implants, right? And so I taught a lot of my residents, at a comprehensive implant residency program. This is what we taught: tapered implant, easy to do, and Trilove. So that's why. Now what you can see is I've placed the cover screw and I've primary closed it. I rare these days would place cover screw and primary close. Even if I'm doing an immediate molar therapy, I try to put healing abutment. But in this case, obviously I placed the cover screw because patient has to wear the flipper. Okay, the flipper, acrylic flipper. And also here, what I don't do these days, but I used to do, is taking x-ray with the drill in the mouth. Okay, I don't do this anymore because two reasons. It is too risky. If this drill were ever to fall out while you're taking x-ray and patient swallows it or aspirate it, oh my goodness, okay, I'll be the most famous dentist in this town, right? I'll be covered in the newspaper and all that, right? Okay, so I don't recommend this. Okay, so I stopped doing this for sure. Okay, there's a easier way to assess parallelism rather than taking an x-ray with a drill in the mouth. Okay, so as you can see here, I had to do some sinus augmentation, as we can see right here. I don't know how much native bone there was. I think there was about 5 millimeters. I mean, I could have easily done, I think, crestal approach, but I think I did maybe the lateral approach because this looks a lot. Okay, this looks a lot. I cannot 100% remember. Sometimes I choose to do lateral, even though I could do crestal, because it's quicker for me. When I have to lift 3 areas or 3 or 4 teeth in a row, going lateral is much quicker and efficient for me because I can see and I can put the bone and the PRF a lot quicker than going individual crestal. Because when you have a in a row crestal approach, the problem is when you crestal lift and you try to hydraulic lift the other side using a casket, then the water leaks out. So you gotta do do a crestal lift and then place an implant, and then do another crestal lift, place an implant. So it's more work, right? I have nothing against it. So this is what I did. So I did a cover screw and gave a patient the flipper. To be honest, I don't know if he actually wore that flipper. How many patients, when you give a posterior flipper, temporary partial denture, actually have a good compliance? Okay, I don't know about you guys, but my patients don't really have a good compliance. So, okay, I don't think patient really wore that flipper that much. Anyways, in January, so this is about 4 or 5 months later, I bring the patient back and placing healing abutments, right? Right, healing abutments. I place these 3 healing abutments and use a chromic gut suture. Again, that's another thing I don't do these days. I don't use chromic gut suture. I think chromic gut suture, it is a resorbable suture, but it doesn't stay long enough to be qualified as a good functioning suture. And it doesn't really hold the tension that well. So rather than using a resorbable suture, I like to use a PTFE non-resorbable suture these days. If I do have to use resorbable suture like a for example FGG and deep anchoring suture, I would use a monocryl which lasts about 3 weeks with a good tension. Okay, all right, and then what happened? Okay, this was in January. I placed the healing abutment, getting him ready to have a final prosthetic in the quad 2. Guess what? This tooth. Okay, oops, my arrow is in the wrong place. Let me just correct that. There you go. 1-1. Okay, 1-1. Start to get mobile. Okay, post and core, old post and core, gotten loose, and that tooth has to come out. Okay, and to be honest, retrospect, looking at this case, probably it's gotten loose because there was no posterior support, and probably because patient really didn't wear the partial partial a temporary flipper, you know, during the healing time. That's what I think. Okay, that's what I think. And so I had to treatment plan for 1-1. Okay, so here, immediate extraction, and do a guide pin, and place this implant. Okay, do you know what this implant system is, anybody? Okay. Can anybody let me know what this implant system is? Is this, what kind of connection is this? What kind of connection? Can anybody guess? Right? This is external hex connection, right? Okay. At that time, probably the most popular external hex connection design was Nobel, and I was using a lot of. Yep, you're right. Okay, Peter, you're absolutely correct. Okay. Yeah, external hex. Is that a legacy? No, it's external hex of a Nobel Speedy. Because I was doing a lot of all-on-4 traditional. Conventional all-on-4 with the FP3, and there was an implant that was heavily marketed, and it was designed to do all-on-4. It was developed by collaboration of Nobel Biocare and Dr. Paulo Malo, the inventor of the all-on-4 angle tilting implant concept. So their MUA system, initial multi-unit abutment angle movement, they only made it for external hex system, external hex Nobel. So in order to do all-on-4, I had to have these implants. Okay. Of course, later on, you know, you can get an MUA abutment for all different fixtures nowadays, but back then these were the only ones. So I had a lot of inventory, and a lot of the majority of the implant that we were placing at that time, you know, start to switch over from tri-lobe inventory, switch over to external hex speedy implants, right? So that's what I used. I think this is a 4.0 regular platform speedy implant. Okay, and we immediate temporized. Okay, we immediate temporized this one here. How come I'm missing some slides here? Hold on a second, guys. I am missing some slides. Okay, I'm missing some slides. Sorry about that. Okay. Anyways, yeah. So I did immediate temporization on the 1-1. Okay. So this happened. The healing abutment placement and the immediate implant for number 1-1 area happened in the span of like 2 weeks time, right? And then in February of 2009, I took the impression, and we've done the abutment, and we decided to do, I think these are maybe fused. I think they're fused together, right? I don't usually fuse crowns anymore, but back then I was under heavy influence of Mish, okay, Carl Mish. He was my one of my very first mentor, and we would fuse all our crowns in the posterior, and we would cement it. And this abutment is not a CAD/CAM custom abutment. These are stock abutments, and they used to come with different slopes, and we've ordered one that is most similar, and then we'll hand mill it on the jig, and I will get it at the equal gingival level or slightly below, and then we will have a ceramist make a PFM. Okay, right? So we insert the stock abutment, torque it, put some cotton pellets, and cave it, and then we'll cement that. Okay. And here's the X-ray here. Yeah, I was correct. It was fused together. Okay. So now that we got a posterior support, now we're waiting for the tooth number 1-1 to heal, right? And that was what? What was this one? 2009. Okay, 2009. Okay. Can anybody predict what's going to happen next? All right, let's look at this one here, right? Okay. All right. So now we have 4 months later. Okay, tissue is healed up pretty good, and our prosthetic team, I think, did a crown prep on the 2-1 and 2-2 and 2-3, and because they were all discolored, right? Okay, if you can go back, see that right here, heavily restored. So he requested us to do a crown prep on the other two. And back then we used to do We used to do crown prep on the natural teeth when we had to match it. We only did it for very few cases where cosmetically we had to ensure that the color match and everything good. Nowadays, we rarely work on natural teeth ever, ever. Okay. So here, you know, packing the cord and taking the impression. And here, what kind of impression coping is this? Right, this is closed tray impression coping. Right, closed tray. Again, in the past, we used to use closed tray impression coping, but of course, over the years, we abandoned closed tray impression coping. I would say abandoned. Very rarely ever use closed tray impression coping. Only time that we'll actually use closed tray would be if they have a limited opening, right? But for the most part, if the patient has a decent range of motion, we will use an open tray, right? However, if you do use closed tray impression technique, I highly recommend this impression material called Impergum, right? Impergum, okay? So the Impergum is very stiff. It's a polyether. I don't know if any of you guys use the polyether impression material. Is really, really stiff, right? Okay. The whole idea of using a very stiff impression material is so that when you transfer out the closed tray impression coping and attach an analog, it'll snap in. Okay. So minimal distortion, right? And right here, okay, it's a lab process. Again, totally analog. Over here, I think we use the Procera custom abutment from the look of it. And of course, my implant placement is not as accurate as nowadays, right? Here it was slightly incisal or slightly buccal, so you know that's why the custom abutment looks the way like this here. And I think for this one we did a crown, PFM crown, cement retain, I believe. Okay. So if you look at this X-ray right here, this is an external hex implant, and this is a titanium custom abutment with a PFM on top of it. So there's no platform shifting. Okay, there's no platform shifting. And because it's external hex, the micro gap is going to be right here. And over the years, it is common to see few threats of bone loss purely because of the micro gap design. Okay. So that's what's happening. And over here, as you can see as well, that is the platform right here. There's no platform shifting right here and right here and right here. And these implant trilobes didn't have real thread until a couple of millimeters below the crystal module. So what will happen is over the years, as the bone turns over, the bone is going to die back to the first thread. Okay, first thread. And that we come to realize that that is what the biology does. Okay, it is a biological remodeling process of a bone loss. And then November 2012. Okay, 2012. What has happened here? What's going on? Okay, let's look at it. Quad 3 bridge fail due to recurrent decay. Okay, quad 3. So far we worked on quad 2 and tooth number 1-1 and crown prep on 2-1 and 2-2 and 2-3. Was it a 2-2 and 2-3? Yeah, 2-1, 2-2 and 2-3. Okay. Now it's quad 3 now. Okay. Now this time I did something different. Okay, I did something different. I learned something, right? I've learned something. What did I learn, guys? What did I learn? Instead of taking the teeth out and placing the implant and giving patient removable flipper, I decided to do immediate chairside provisionalization. No CAD cam at that time. Everything was analog. So for me to make a temporary, I had to make it chairside. I mean, I don't have to, but chairside is what I did. Okay, and those of you making, who's used to making chairside temporaries, let alone making one, is time consuming. Trying to make 4 of them is incredibly time consuming. It's a tedious work. It takes way longer than placing implants. Okay, for sure. And also, not only that, to make this once you make the temporary and making that occlusion exactly right to prevent from loss of a vertical dimension of occlusion. Okay, right? Because if I lose video, right, then more force is going to go to the front and I might lose more teeth, right? So I learned my lesson. So when you're making provisional, when I'm making posterior provisional multi-unit distal free end, like the case right here, distal free end, multi-unit provisional crown, I make it positive contact, single point positive contact. I'm loading it. Okay, I don't do implant protective occlusion, because if you make it implant protective occlusion, guess what's going to happen, right? All the force is going to go to the front, right? So these have a positive context. And this is how the temporary is. Now, what do you realize here? Quad 2, what kind of implant was it? Nobel Tri-Lobe, right? Non-platform shifting. And then 1-1 was Nobel External Hex, Nobel Speedy, non-platform shifting. And here, by the time Quad 3, what implant is this? This is a Hyosin ET3, platform shifting. Okay, platform shifting. You can see the platform shifting happening right here, right? Okay. This is what I typical temporary used to look like. Now what I do different these days is because I understand the biological width. I don't want the cementation margin where the temporary and the stock chimney, temporary titanium abutment meet. I like to use a little bit of a taller cuff height. This is 1 millimeter. I like to use at least 2 or 3 millimeter of a cuff height. Okay, trying to keep that connection margin away from the crest module. I find that helps with the tissue, okay, healing, tissue response, and helps with the minimal helps to prevent from bone loss as well. Okay, so the whole purpose of posterior provisional crown for me is, for the most part, is keeping the vertical dimension occlusion. Okay, I don't want to lose the video through the healing process. Okay, so that's May the 16th, 2013. Okay, 2013. And what happened here? That infection of the 1-7, I think I took that one out as well. Okay, from March to May. Okay, and I don't put this implant on the, I didn't put the implant on the 1-7. Because I don't, if this patient is going to end up with a full arch, you know, what's the point of having a second molar implant, right? And then taking impression. Okay, what am I doing right here? Okay, anybody I know? Okay, this is what kind of impression coping? Is it a closed tray or open tray? Right? It's open tray, right? Open tray. And what am I doing right here? Okay, I am joining the impression coping with wire and acrylic. Okay, open tray and wire, right? And this is something that we used to do routinely. I don't do it anymore. I don't think it's necessary. Okay, we did some testing whether it is mandatory to join it together. I'm not, you know, if you guys are doing it, working great, fantastic. Okay, yeah. However, when we did the vitro study, having the wire joint versus not having a wire joint, when as long as it's an open tray method, for the purpose of just a sectional bridge. Now, when you're doing full arches, it may be a different story. When you do full arch, all on 4, all on 6s, you know, MUA, we would join the wire together all the time. Okay, but for the sectional part, I don't think it's as necessary. Okay, so anyway, but we did it. But more important is this one here. Anybody know what this is here? These two sticking out that I'm taking impression with. Okay, anybody know? Okay, right. It's called, I'll give a few seconds, bonus points. Bonus points. Okay, I guess there's a lot of lagging going on, right? What are these two? Somebody's got the right answer. Bite index, Scott. Absolutely. Okay, bite index, okay? Because what happens is, if you don't put the bite index, okay, bite index is basically very tall healing abutment. And I didn't choose the best bite index. What you want to do is when you choose the proper bite index or tall healing abutment, you want the clearance to be about 1 millimeter or 2. And then when you take the bite restoration, which I use blue bite, our lab technician can mount it without sagging, okay, without sagging, right? Because if you don't give them bite restoration with the bite index, when they mount, they will almost always sag. And then when the final crown comes, you'll end up with open contact occlusion, okay? So here I'm using a bite index to correct that. However, what would have been a better method? What would have been a better method? Okay, anybody can guess? We don't do this either anymore. You know what we do? If the patient already has a good, positive, single point contact, chair side temporary that I already made 4 months ago, and that is the most accurate bite it's going to be. If the patient is functioning on it and they're comfortable, that's the bite. That's the functional bite that I want to take, right? Okay. So what I do in this situation nowadays, I do what we call transfer mount. Have a patient come, right? We'll take a bite registration of this exact bite, right? And we'll take the opposing and the master model of the bottom, right? The master impression of the bottom. We'll send it to the lab, and we'll give a patient healing abutment, send the patient home overnight, and the next day, after we finish the mounting, next day patient come, we'll give them the temporary bridge back, right? So that they can still use it. Because transfer mounting only takes a few hours, okay? Or sometimes, if they can wait about an hour or 2 hours, they can do that, okay? But if you are too busy, then you can do it overnight after work, and then they come next day, give them the temporary, because it takes about 2 weeks for a commercial lab to make final crowns. So you need to give it back to the patient for them to not lose the vertical, right? So bite index is great, but the better way is transfer mounting of transitional crowns here, okay? There was also if there was a terminal tooth, would you still use a bite index? Not necessarily, okay? If there's a terminal tooth and that is a trustworthy vertical stop, then you don't really need bite index. Bite index is really helpful for free end cases, okay? Yeah, free end cases for sure. All right, okay. Oh, well, thank you, Ted. Okay, if somebody's learning, that's great. Okay, that's great. All right, fantastic that you guys are learning. So this is, once again, this is Impergam. We don't use Impergam anymore because my prosthetic team, they have a hard time. So a lot of patients don't like it because it doesn't taste good, and it takes a lot of force to remove, and they feel like they're extracting their teeth, okay? And oftentimes you'll end up removing some of the recurrent decay crowns, or not often, but once in a while those accidents does happen, right? Okay, so this is bite index, right? Bite index. Bite index, the concept became very evident with Hyosin 83 system. They were the first implant system that I can recall that actually had a bite index concept in their catalog, okay? Even still to this day, not many implant company have dedicated bite index. So I'll tell you another pearl. If you are non-Hyosin user, but if you're a Megagen Anyone user, Nobel Active user, Nobel Active regular platform user, and Astra regular platform user, Hyosin 83 bite index will fit. Okay, I've tried them. Okay, they will fit. But on the other hand, if you have your own implant system, but they have like healing abutments like a Megagen, they have like they don't have dedicated bite indexes, but they do carry like all the way from healing abutment from like 3 millimeter all the way to like a 10 or 12 millimeter healing abutment. So you can have an extra tall healing abutment and use it as a bite index. That will work too. But always remember, if you're using bite index to take the bite restoration, you gotta send the bite index together with the impression, okay? And you have to write it down what tooth number it is so that the lab doesn't get the bite index mixed up. It can happen, all right? And this lab work was done by Paul Rowe. Paul Rowe was my ceramist in-house lab. He was owner of my in-house lab, and they did wonderful model work and soft tissue work. Just gorgeous. Just the traditional PFM, layering, nothing fancy, but great work. Great color match. Tissue profile's good. And here, what you'll notice here is this is screw retained. Okay, this is a screw retained now, I believe. Don't think these are cement retained anymore. Okay, so now is April the 14th. Okay, April the 14th. What do you notice here, guys? We worked on quad 2 and then tooth number 1-1, and we did some single crowns on the 2-1, 2-2, 2-3, and quad 3, we did it. Guess what? Quad 1 broke off. Okay, quad 1 broke off. Now at this point, I'm thinking, shit, okay, what's next, right? What's next, right? Okay, it's like one by one, it's coming down, but he's like great sport. Right? He goes, oh, guess what, Dr. Kwan? You know, which area I need? This side now, this side. Okay? He's almost predicting which one's going to happen next, right? Okay. All right. So we took the teeth out. What was before? Let's see what we had before. Here, before he had tooth 1-3, 1-4, and 1-6. Okay? Remember that. 1-3, 1-4, and 1-6. They were all root canal treated. Okay? Guess what? I did an immediate implant in the exact same root position. 1-3, 1-4, and 1-6. Okay, why is that? Because I think the reason I did this way is because when a patient had a long span bridge like this for a long time, you don't really have enough bone where the pontic side was. They resorb, right? The bridge is probably there for like 15 years. They resorb. So rather than putting patients through a GBR and try to put the implant elsewhere, some of the easy way or lazy way for me is take those roots out and put the implant in the same place. Okay, because that's a lot of times better quality bone and more volume there as well. And as you can see right here, I think I did a little bit of a crestal lift right here. And more importantly though, what did I do here? Immediate provisional bridge again, to maintain vertical dimension of occlusion. I try to not to give them removable transitional flipper because the compliance is not very good, and also they bounce, right? They bounce. So if I can do immediate loading, I give immediate loading, and I try to achieve a single point positive contact. Okay, I know a lot of you probably thinking that if you immediately load these implants in this functional area, you're increasing the risk of implant failure. If you use the right implant system, and if you know how to achieve good primary stability, and when you are joining them together in a multiple, right? You'll be surprised. You'll be able to get a really, really good predictable result as long as the patient's hygiene is good. Okay, opening up the embrasure so that they can use a proxy brush to clean it properly is very, very, very important. Okay, so typically when I book procedure like this, usually it's about, I think this case I booked about 2 hours, and extraction and the implant placement takes less than an hour. But for me to make the chair side provisional, that takes a lot longer, and that's the norm, right? Nowadays, what would I do? I don't make chair side provisional like this. It's too much work for me. My surgeries are usually typically only booked an hour. So what I do is I would put the implant, and what I'll do is I'll take the impression. Okay, whether I'm doing a digital or analog, I'll take the impression, and I'll take a bite registration with a bite index, and then I'll have a patient come back. Okay, come back. If it's an urgent case, do a teeth next day, or if a patient can wait 2 weeks later, and my prosthetic team, who does most of my post-op, they'll insert it at that time. Okay, yeah, because it's a lot more accurate and better quality transitional prosthesis when you do a lab process, because we have the milling machine and everything in house now, right? So far easier for me. Okay, all right. Once again, here I would do the differently is I would use a taller cuff height. Keep that margin away from the crest module. Okay. And now is in November 2015. Okay, from 2008, 2015. This is how far we got here. Okay. Here is a custom abutment. Okay. Here, as you can see, interesting here though. I've joined the teeth from 1.4 to 1.6 3 unit, but I cantilever off to 1.3 on the 1.2. Okay. Not sure why our prosthetic team did that. I think I've nothing against it as long as you have good occlusal design. I think this is fine. I think the reason they did it this way is because they did a screw retain, and we try not to do this many crown screw retained all in, to do that, because it's hard to achieve a passive fit when you have a long span screw retain prosthesis. I think that's why they broke it down. Yeah, I'm just guessing. And also here, if you look back here, quad 3, they're individual crown now. So I'm moving away from the concept of Carl Misch's fusing the crowns together. Okay, the whole idea about biomechanic, fuse the crowns together for more strength and all that. We start to move away from that concept, right? We come to realize that in 2015, you don't have to fuse the crowns together if you have good design, proper occlusion, and good osseointegration. Okay. Here you go. And then what happened? 2017. Any questions so far, guys? Any question? Okay. Yeah. And 2017, something happened. Which one goes now? Is it the bottom one, or is it this one? What's remaining, right? It's going to be either here or here, right? Right? Okay. What do you think? Which one's going to go first? 21223 or the lower anterior? Okay. Okay. Right. Let's see. Anterior. Alice goes anterior. Why? Okay. Or bottom. Okay, let me ask you guys though. Okay. Let's take a consensus. Okay. Yeah. Let's say if 2-1, 2-10, 2-3 goes, right? If they break, or if one of them break, or two of them break, what would you do? Would you do single implant? I'm at this point now. I'm committed, right? I'm telling my patients, if any of one of these teeth go, we're going to be aggressive. We're not going to be conservative, okay? Because what I don't want to do is start placing single tooth implant, okay? Because I come to realize that implants, they need some space. Okay? Sometimes less is more. So if any one of these crown goes, I told the patient I'm going to remove all three of them, and I'm going to place implant here and here. 2-1 and 2-3, and I'll do a 3-unit bridge. If any of the implant any of the teeth here fails, any of the teeth over here fails, what I'm going to do, right? I'm going to take these teeth out. I'm going to put 2 implant and do a 4-unit bridge. And I think some of the doctor asked me, what is a long-term prognosis of 2 implant on the lateral position in a 4-unit bridge? Incredibly excellent. Incredible. It's one of the most long-lasting implant-supported prosthesis in my 25-year career. Okay, I'm very confident that those cases also relatively easy to do, and you can do a 4-unit bridge immediate provisional as well. Okay, all right. Okay. And Scott has had a good question here. I'm thinking if this patient just went for full arch from the start, he would end up with 6 implants per arch. Most likely. Most likely. All right. Most likely, and could have been easier. But the thing is, yep, case definitely coming up. Definitely coming up, Ted. But the thing is, the right treatment has to suffice both parties. The clinician as well as the consumer, the patient. At the beginning, he was not emotionally ready for a full arch treatment. He was not. But as progressed, and he come to realization that the remaining teeth are not going to last. and he become more receptive. And he's suggesting that, in the future, when these teeth are no good, he wants to be replaced by implant. Because so far, now he got more implant than he got more implant than the natural teeth, right? Okay, at this point. So, so he's ready. He's ready. So what happened? Guess who's it's the 212223. The same teeth that my prosthetic team did a implant crown, I think was 2009. Yeah, 2009. Now it's a 2017. Okay, after what 8 years later, that natural teeth, they gave up. So what did I do? Take those teeth out, apical lesions. Took them out. Immediate implant and immediate chair side temporization. All right. Anybody guess? What did I do wrong here? I made a no-no. I made a no-no. The way I made a temporary, this is a no-no. Anybody guess? What did I do wrong? I'll wait. And by the way, right now I have 19 thumbs up and I only have 13 hearts. This is discouraging. You guys start giving me some thumbs up or shoot me some hearts, okay? All right. Yes, who said that? Who said that? Somebody. Scott, you're so smart. Yeah, Polly. Yeah, you guys are both very smart. I've used both engaging hex. The rule is that, when you are doing a screw retained, whether it's a final or whether it's a temporary, when you have a pre-made or chair side, when you're doing multiple, in theory, you should be using non-engaging. And non-engaging is what I should have used. But the reason I couldn't is because what kind of implant did I place? All right, what are these implant guys? Can anybody guess here? Remember, quad 2 molar was Nobel trilobe, right? Internal trilobe implant. Quad and 1-1 was Nobel external hex. Quad 3 was Hyosin ET3, right? Internal hex conical connection. Quad 4 here is Straumann tissue level. Quad 1 is Hyosin ET3 conical connection. Now what do we have here? 21223. What kind of connection is this? Right? These are BioHorizon implant. Because what happened in 2017? Politics happened. Politics. Yeah, politics. Because I stopped using Hyosin ET3 3.5. I've placed so many Hyosin ET3 3.5 for anteriors and they fractured on me so badly. I probably have over 100 cases that is fractured for anterior cases. And 3.5, they were the most common implant. That was a perfect design implant for anterior cases. I'm not going to get into why we need to use a narrow implant for anterior cases. This aesthetic and biological width, emergent profile. There's a whole lecture on that. But anyways, there was so much fracture, and Hyosin was denying it. They were giving me a hard time, and it has started to happen to Dr. Jin, and started to happen to Ho Young, and started to happen to Glenn. There was a late night coffee show I did the Curse of the Glenn Van Ass. Those of you watched it, you know what I mean, right? So I stopped. I refused to use ET3 narrow, and then there was a politics. Hyosin, they start to compete with the Bice Institute for running courses, right? So anyways, so we were not in a very good friends anymore. I'm good with Hyosin now, but I'm happy with Megagen, and I'm very neutral with all implant company. But at that time, Hyosyn as a company was pissing me off. Okay, so whole faculty of Hyosyn, we used to be Hyosyn user. We switched over. Okay, switched over to other implant system. And during that few years before we switched over to Megagen, we were dabbling on other implant system like Straumann, BioHorizon, and all this, right? So here we're using BioHorizon because BioHorizon is what? Grade 5 alloy. They're built like a tank, okay? They're super strong. They don't fracture, right? They never fracture. They are incredibly strong implant. The problem is their surface is not as good. They got other issue with the grade 5 alloys, right? And they're not a true conical connection. They're internal hex connection, right? And they didn't make temporary peak with non-engaging. They only made hex. They didn't have it. So I had no choice, okay? So, because I was really into using peak abutment for highly aesthetic anterior temporary, okay? That's why we had hex system, okay? Long story short, right? Long story long, actually, okay? Now, what happened? Okay, so this was the, what was it? Okay, is that the final? Yeah, this is a final now. This is a final. We deliberately, now this is a screw retained 3-unit bridge. Okay, this is a mirror view, right? This is actually 2122223. Right here, 2122223. That's a final bridge. And we did the gold occlusion, okay, because of this occlusion. And then what happened in March 2018? Bottom goes, right? Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I am the implant museum. Oh goodness. All right. Okay. So the bottom goes, right? Bottom goes. Okay. So okay, that's the last of the missing puzzle, right? Lower. So like I indicated, I took the 4 teeth out, immediate implant placement, and I did a immediate chairside temporary. This is a chairside temporary. And what kind of implant is this? This is one of my favorite implant. Okay, I'll tell you later. And this is angle screw channel. Okay, because when you're doing lower incisor, the long if you're gonna do it properly, make it nice and small profile, buccal lingually. Too many doctors are placing implant too lingual, and you end up having a very wide buccal lingual. Okay, my recommendation: you aim the long axis to incisal edge. Okay, that's the key. When you're doing lower anterior, okay, centrals and laterals, you aim the long axis to be incisal edge. Okay, and then you use an angle screwdriver to correct the angulation about 10 to 15 degrees. If you do that, you get a perfect, okay, profile of a proper lower anterior teeth. Okay, and here's the final screw retained. Okay, now here's a top end, bottom, fully implant supported prosthesis. What kind of implant is this? Lower one. Okay, believe it or not, they're Hyosyn implants. Hyosyn 3.2 by 13. Okay, one of my favorite implant for lower anteriors and upper laterals. Why is that? Okay, believe it or not, Hyosyn ET3 3.5 is one of the weakest implant that I've placed, and Hyosyn ET3 3.2, which is even narrower than their 3.5, is one of the strongest implant that I've ever placed. I haven't had a single fracture on Hyosyn ET3 3.2. Why? Why is this? Grade 5 alloy. Hyosyn ET3 3.2 is not a grade 4 commercially pure titanium. It's a grade 5 alloy. And there's something to say about the alloy implant. Alloy implants are far more stronger in the wall, okay, than its counterpart grade 4 pure titanium implant, okay. So for lower anteriors and laterals, okay, ET3 3.2 is what I used, okay. All right. Yes, Paul, 3.2 Hyosyn, okay. Yeah. Yeah, they're my go-to implant for these situations. Okay. And then 2021. Okay, so let's look at this here. Now we got Straumann, and then Nobel external hex, and Hyosyn ET3. Okay, regular platform. We got a Hyosyn ET3 regular platform, and we got BioHorizon narrow platform, and we got Hyosyn 3.2 narrow. Okay. Right. Okay. We pretty much covered it. How many implants is this altogether? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 implants on the top. Bottom 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 implants on the bottom. Except these 3 Straumann, I placed all the rest of it myself. Okay, the Straumann implant was placed by the previous dentist. Okay, and then he comes back in 2021 with a loose crown on this area because of the cantilever here. Okay, so I removed it and I retained it. Okay, and it's been pretty good. Okay, so I told him if it gets loose again, then we might remake the crown, or we'll you know, to fuse it together or something. And here's getting a little bit of bone losses. Typically tissue level implant, I'm a little bit surprised here because tissue level implant Straumann, they really maintain bone level really well. But you know, when I took the PA here, you see a little bit right here. Okay, but tissue still pretty healthy, so I'm not too worried about it. I'm not worried about it, and I'm gonna keep my eyes closed on this. Okay, all right, so that's that, right? And this is 2021 in February. Everything's good. Okay, do you think everything is done? No, of course not. Not everything is done. What is the one thing that we have left? One more thing. Anybody? One more thing, like Steve Jobs said. One last thing. What is it? Okay, whoever gets this, okay, I'll send you a free mug, okay, Bias Institute mug as a prize. One more thing, okay, I'll give you 10 seconds, right? One more thing. Anna says FGG, Scott says FGG, all right, FGG where? Quad 4? Okay, and Scott also says quad 4. Paul says 1-1. How come? What's wrong with the 1-1, Paul? Did I miss something here? Okay. And also, who says this? Calvin says 38 exo. 38 exo. Okay, yeah. You know what? The winner is Anas. Okay, Anas. Okay, Anas, I want you to email Grace, okay, info@biceps.com, and tell Grace that I owe you Biceps Institute mug, complimentary mug for winning the prize. Okay, look at this here. Okay, look at this here. Remember I told you I started to notice a little bit of bone losses here, and what I think is due to a lack of attached gingiva, okay, KG, and also importantly vestibular depth. Okay. Attachment is important, but the level of vestibule is just as important in my honest opinion, because when you have a shallow vestibule, all the food getting trapped right here, okay, during the function. Okay, so I'm going to try to achieve 2 things: depth of vestibule and KG. Okay, so FGG is what we need. Okay, congratulations, Anis. Okay, all right, congratulations, good eyes. So I took a big ass FGG using Dr. Jin's pocket knife. It literally takes me 10 seconds to get a long palatal FGG. And here's no vestibule whatsoever, right? Okay. And here, okay, I did some releasing, partial thickness. And then I lay it over. Okay. And on the donor side, I'm just using what's a Surgicel and some glue I apply over. Okay. All right, and here is a monocroyal suture. Well, I don't use glue here, just a monocroyal suture to hold this down. Okay, and I use dressing. Okay, and there's different way to skin a cat, right? Different ways to cook an omelet. I don't use suture a lot for FGG. My FGG technique is almost sutureless. Okay, I have nothing against suture. It's just that takes me a long time. I like to do these FGG in less than 10 minutes. If I'm spending more than 10-15 minutes doing FGG, then you know I'm behind the schedule. So here I basically released it and apply this right here, put some glue on there. We will do a session, and I think Dr. Jin is going to do on a future online study club, he's gonna showcase how we do a sutureless FGG. It's not for every case and it's not for everybody. It is technique sensitive. I think you should definitely learn the proper fundamental way of doing traditional FGG first before you try minimal suturing FGG. But here I put a cold pack dressing, and then 2 weeks later, this is how we look. Okay, all right. And there's no suture because I didn't use any. And here is how attached gingiva is reestablishing, and this is the vestibular depth here. What is the white thing here? That's bone, okay? Because in the back, when there's when you go down and trying to increase the depth, then here I went a little bit too deep, and then I got rid of the periosteum. No biggie, it heals up. It just takes time, okay? And here, donor side is right here, all healing up pretty good. And here's a monocryl suture right here. And patient, I give my patient a sock down surgical stand for them to wear for the first 1 week for the donor side. Okay, all right. So that takes us to the finishing. Okay, yay. Okay, everybody, give your hands applause. Yeah, you did it. Okay, we went over 10 minutes after 11. Okay, so those of you are still with me. Okay, 21 of you. Okay, if you enjoyed today's session case review, shoot me some heart. Okay, shoot me some heart. Okay, all right, shoot me some thumbs up, shoot me some heart. Okay, leave some comments. All right, now important, tonight's verification code, if you guys want to get a free 1CE AGD, okay, is you need to do first, you need to shout out. Okay, put your first and last name, comma, and the city that you're from. Okay, shout out. And today's code is going to be, all right, what's that? Right here. All right, here we go. It's this. Da-da. Okay. All right. LCE. Oh, sorry. Okay. LCS. So 1CE AGD. Okay, it's going to be LCS, Late Night Coffee Show, LCS 018 FMR, okay? So this is your verification code. So you email Grace, okay, with this verification code, and she will give you the certificate of 1CE AGD credit. Okay, congratulations everybody for sticking, and hope you guys enjoyed it. Okay, I learned a lot with this case as well. I'm always learning. And I'll be the first one to admit what I've done wrong, as much as I would say what I think I did right. Okay, if I were to do this case over again, what would I do differently? Yeah, I would do something differently. You know, and but overall, I think my concept's still the same, and I've learned to trust in immediate loading of posterior cases, and it required me to build confidence, because over the to get to a different level, you have to have a faith in what you do. And sometimes you have to bite the bullet. You're not going to win every race. Sometimes you're going to lose, but we win more than we lose. It is a risk taking, right? I'm not here to say that the way I'm doing is the best way. Far from it. What has evolved over the last 13 years is that I'm far more digitally involved, and I look at the way I talk to the patient is more different, and I'm more confident, right? And I hope going through a case review like this with you guys will help you to gain some of the indirect confidence as well. And and don't be afraid to step outside the comfort zone a little bit too, right? And that's how we learn. And keep your implant practice interesting as well. Okay, guys, thank you very much. If there's any question, please leave comments, and I'll try to answer the best that I can. Okay, guys, thank you everybody. I really enjoy this, and yeah, okay, you guys take care. Okay, all right, bye bye. What goes next? Here we go. Okay, where is the next one? Right here. Right here. There it is.